Alright, we are back. I switched from my 5.8 to a cool. Well, hopefully people will join again once the stream is going. Right now it just says an error occurred, so that's terrible. Who makes this software? Gosh. Alright, we got 3 guys back on. Thanks for coming back in. Hopefully this stream catches up. Right now I just see that an error occurred, but I think YouTube's probably just catching up with what's actually going on in real time. I wish these streams could be more real time. This delay is really annoying for me. But I'm gonna just start building. Hopefully you guys catch up. So we're almost done removing the wires here. Okay. That's all the ESCs. Get radio going. Now let's see how much each of these ESCs weighs. 5 grams. So ESCs plus motor, 11 grams. Alright, so 4 of these is going to be around 40 grams. Plus frame, 26. 66 grams. 20-ish. 86 grams. Alright, so I'm missing the flight controller. But I think this whole thing without the battery is going to be around 100 grams, which is ridiculous. Should we put a KISS flight controller in here? I mean, it's not really good for anything else. No, I'm not even going to put a KISS flight controller into a 3-inch. That's how much I dislike how it feels. I would rather put a Naze or something simpler that I'm used to. Naze Rev 6, but I'd rather use that Flip 32. I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back. So, this is actually the frame that I won yesterday. It's really similar to the Scythe. It's just the Scythe looks a little cooler. It has those 4 segments connecting each of the arms. But this guy that I won is pretty cute and tiny. Brian is nice enough to throw in a PDB and also the Dragon 32 Multi-Rotor Mania flight controller. So I'm going to take this flight controller out of here and put it into the build that I'm making right now. KISS is amazing. I know, Militia, it's just not for me. It feels too strange compared to Betaflight. I don't fly with a lot of Expo. Like I fly almost like just stock Expo and Betaflight, and then my rates, they're pretty high. So the feel of KISS to me is just insane. I couldn't get used to it. I tried really hard. I tried using it like 3 or 4 batteries a day for 5 days in a row, and eventually just gave up. And it was my Shendrone's Mako, aka the Boob, and I just couldn't get it flying right. And then I put a Dodo in there this morning, and immediately was feeling awesome. So yeah, sorry, no more KISS flight controller for me. I just don't like the way it feels, but I know it works great for some people. I think it just depends on pilot preference and how they like their controller to feel. Okay. Interesting that there are 2 different top plates here. It's like this one is actually longer. It's a shorter top plate. But we'll see. Maybe I'll use the bigger top plate on the Scythe. don't know what the trade-off is yet, but we'll get there. Alright, I'm going to put that guy aside. Got what we needed from him. And I have never used this flight controller. It looks... Oops. Looks pretty similar to... It looks like a mirror of the Naze Rev 6. Which chip is here? STM32F103. Cool. And the gyro is... Can't read it. It's too small, but I'm guessing it's a Naze Rev 5 clone. So, which way is forward on this board? I have no clue. And there's no arrow. Alright, so powering this up for the first time is going to be dangerous, so I'll be sure I do a hand test. But if it's anything like the Naze Rev 5, assuming this is the side for ESCs, then this should be forward. And I guess the USB is on the side because that's convenient. Alright. Alright, I'm gonna have to look this up. This is strange. I don't recognize any of these labels. Militia Brothers, these motors are DYS 1105 4000 kV. They're labeled Nano Titan for Multi-Rotor Mania. But I'm pretty sure they're DYS. Here's the box. Just says 1105 4000 kV. Alright, let's start with the PDB, because I don't know what's going on with that flight controller yet. ESC plus minus, and it's a single-sided PDB, but these vias are stitched all the way through, so I'm not going to leave it flush against the carbon. It could short. I'm going to use small spacer, probably some M3 nuts. So I'm always looking for M3 nuts, but I found this kit on Amazon for like $6 or $7, and it came with Amazon Prime shipping, so it's pretty fast. Oh, what am I doing? They gave me all the fasteners I need. Yeah. Okay, so let's use these green ones. Green ones are cool. Need screws. Random loose pot of screws. Thank you. Let's see if we can find 4 matching screws in here. Ha, we are lucky. Got 4 identical screws. Are they long enough? No. Alright, time to go to the screw bucket. So this is my giant mess of screws. It is a scary, dark, dangerous place I never really look forward to going into, because all of the screws are mixed up, and it's really hard to find whatever I want to look for. But perseverance, I dig, and I find what I need. Yep. just going to grab a bunch that seem like they might be the right length, and then hopefully I find 4 that all work together. Seems scientific, yeah? Okay, that should be enough. Do you guys know if these motors are strong enough to spin the 3-inch tri-blades I've seen people running? Like I got these. Where are these props? These guys. These little like 30-20 by 4. Why is it called by 4? Must be 4 of them. No, but there's 8 in here. Guess what? These are magic quad blades where you can't see the 4th blade or the 3rd one. So yeah, they're 30 by 20 by 4 somehow. But are those any good, or should I be buying some new blades that are the 3-inch tri blades? What do you guys think? Okay, that's too long. This seems like it's about the right length. So I could do that, but I would like them to match. So let's dig a little more inside of my screw box. We've got 3 and 4. All right, cool. So I know I could use an O-ring or something shorter to space the PDB from the bottom plate, but I don't think it's going to be a problem fighting for space since everything's going to be stacked up on top of itself. So I'm just going to play it safe and use these green nuts, plus they look cool. That makes a 3-inch prop. 3045 tri-prop. Wow, okay, I'll have to buy some of those. Do you guys know what store I can get those Dal tri-blades from? Anywhere local? I'd like to get this thing flying pretty soon so I can tune it and get used to it before Maker Faire. Alright. And the first component is going in. There's 12 volts out here and 5 volts out here. I think the only thing that needs a 5 volt line is probably the flight controller, since it's a Naze Rev 5 clone. But I don't... If it's anything like the Naze, then the 5 volt input is probably right next to the beeper, so maybe right here. It does say +1 VBAT, as opposed to -1 VBAT or +2 VBAT. I don't know what the +1 means. It's not really helpful. Alright. So what am I doing? I am probably... I should think about how to lay out these ESCs. Wow. That is freaking close. These motor wires are going to be basically non-existent after I trim them. But that's cool. Long wires are bad anyway, right? So that's going to be my game plan, because I saw what Michael Pham did and it was gorgeous. He stuffed all the ESCs underneath the PDB, and it was probably like the most hardest build in the world, but it looked great. I'm going to keep them on the arm so they're serviceable. I don't have to worry about repairing stuff and taking the whole damn thing apart. I don't really have time for that. So let's get this extra wire length out of the way. I'm never going to use those servo connectors if I don't have to. Now that there's BL Heli one wire flash, I mean, what's the point? It's just extra weight, and headers take up too much space. So I'm cutting the heat shrink here so I can shove the ESC closer to the PDB. And it could be dangerous if something shorts, but hasn't come back to bite me in the butt yet. And let's just do that to all of them. Save some time. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Where's the fourth one? Am I fucking crazy? Where's the fourth one? It's probably right in front of me. Oh, yeah, it's already on the frame. Okay, Ken's tired. Propsman has a Dells. Okay, I'll check that out. Nice. Live stream health is yellow. How do I make it green? What do I have to do to get green health? Close some windows. One of my computers is probably like auto-updating or something. Okay, so I'm doing what I always do and cutting some mounting tape to add some vibration dampening between the ESC and the frame. Like, there's a ton of small components underneath these little B20s, and I just feel really anxious about them being against the frame when I'm crashing into stuff and just doing all sorts of bad things to electronics. So yeah, mounting tape under every single ESC, and then I usually wrap strap or zip tie on top of that. I don't always use the other side of the adhesive. Sometimes I just use the foam and leave this red liner on here because I really just want it for vibration isolation. I don't really need it for holding it down. And I mean, this stuff isn't the most expensive mounting tape 3M makes. It's kind of their mid-grade. I did buy this stuff that I haven't tried yet. Gorilla mounting tape. It's clear. Holds up to 10 pounds, so it should be pretty good. I think that's similar to the mid-grade that 3M makes. But 3M's like Extreme Outdoor, I think is rated for like 40 or 50 pounds. And it's not really clear to me like how much surface area of adhesive they're talking about that holds 50 pounds. Like, obviously it's not something like, you know, this much. But there's no standard, so like, what do they mean by holding 10 pounds? I got no freaking clue. That really means nothing to me, so I think I need to try it in a build and see how well it works. I'll probably be running 3S on these motors. Can they handle 4S? Let's see. Motors. Nano Titan brushless motor. Huh, I wonder who makes this motor. It's listed as an MRM motor. Direct mount 3 to 4 inch prop. Runs on 2 or 3S. So yeah, spec says 3S. I will probably stick to 3S since I don't want to cook them. Have any of you run these on 4S? Does that work? I gotta say, I really love the screen hardware. It is pretty darn cool looking. So I'm just gonna tin each of these pads, get some solder flowing on there. And of course, I use leaded solder. I don't know anybody who really uses silver solder that's lead free. That's just like asking for trouble and pain and cold solder joints. Or like ruined electronics because you have to get it so damn hot to reflow the solder. I like smoke. Pumpkin Drublick, have you seen my last stream? Actually, my first stream wasn't on YouTube. My first stream was on Twitch. And yeah, we had some smoke. I plugged in one of my quads that I was building, and all I had done, like, it was a perfectly good flying quad, and all I did was swap out 2 of the motors. And when I powered up the flight controller, we had a kiss fire. One of the kiss ESCs decided it didn't want to live anymore, and sent itself to the drone, the place where all my broken drone parts go. I don't know, probably into my trash bin. Or somewhere on the floor of the props man warehouse being ignored by the factory workers. Okay. So I am going to use the adhesive on here just to hold these ESCs in place while I get them all set up. So let's get that off. I can never get the liner off the back of these mounting tapes. Like, you think they could just make a liner that's a little bit easier to take off. It's cute. Alright. Maybe my Betty, the X-Acto knife, will help me get this liner off. Curses! No go on the 4S? That's a bummer. I guess for once, I will fly 3S. I really don't like doing it, especially on like the same 5-inch frame that I'm going to use for racing. Oops, that's backwards. I feel like it just doesn't fly well compared to 4S. Not enough thrust and just feels weird. Okay. How quickly do you guys normally build your drones? Does it take you as much time as it's taken me? I think my typical build time for a frame that I've already built in the past is like 3 hours, maybe 4 hours. And for a new frame, like, you know, this frame I've never built before, it's probably going to take me a little bit longer. Maybe 4 hours, 5 hours. So who's the fastest builder here? You guys build faster than I can? I know some people are like really meticulous and take a long time and like make everything look perfect. That's not me. I build for reliability and functionality. I don't like to spend a ton of time building because I'd rather build multiple drones and play around with all of them than spend a ton of time building one. That's my preference. And of course these wires are crossed, so I'm gonna have to deal with that. Bastard. So fucking annoying. Excuse my language. Cutting all these ESC wires to length, it should look a lot cleaner in a minute. So everything's out of the way. And this one is also crossed. You bastard! 2.5 to 3 hours for Blackbeard. That's really damn fast. That's awesome. I wish I could build that fast. Maybe I could build faster if I weren't talking half the time. But I'm doing this for you guys because this is kind of fun. I was hoping there'd be people out there that wanted to watch this build or watch drone building in general who weren't really like drone pilots or into drone racing already, but it seems like everybody that watches are like already people who enjoy the sport and just can't get enough. We're all addicts. I think we all have major problems. Just strip in the end of the wire here so I can tin them and then solder them to the PDB. Alright, how'd we do? Get some whiskers, twist them up. Cerulean Blue's never flown FPV. Awesome. Welcome to the stream. I'm doing this to hopefully give newcomers to the hobby some information that they might have questions about. A lot of people try to build a drone for the first time and have no idea what's going on, so I'm hoping this helps people out there that want to fly FPV but haven't done it yet. Mock-up alone takes 2 hours, usually 6 to 10 hours. Damn, Militia Brothers, your builds must be like beautiful. Well, hey, Cerulean Blue, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. There's myself willing to answer questions, and a bunch of guys on here that are watching are all like really good pilots, builders, sponsored pilots. So if you want to ask questions about anything you're seeing, this is definitely a good place to ask. Cerulean, do you fly anything right now? Do you have any other quadcopters, drones, or airplanes? Brushed one cell. Yeah, it does relate. My favorite entry-level quad is still the Blade Nano QX. I have two of them. I have the Blade Nano QX and then the FPV version of it, and I love them. Like I still fly those around for fun. This little 3-inch might start to get flown more often than either of those, but they're great. I can't say enough good things about the Blade Nano QX series. So these are, in case you don't know, the main power and ground for each of the ESCs, and I'm connecting these to the power distribution board. I've already pre-tinned the exposed pads on the PDB, so all I have to do is pre-tin the wire, which I've just done, and then touch the soldering iron to the wire and the pad at the same time, and they melt together. Hey, what's up, Mike? Yeah, Mike, there were 3 motors, but I had purchased 4 of them before that head-to-head race with Drone Doctor. So I mean, yeah, I got 7 motors total, but yeah, I am missing 1. So I'm looking forward to when you can ship me that other one, but it's not urgent, so please take your time. Yep, I left with 7. I don't know how I dropped that 8th motor. That was weird. It must have fallen out of the bag or something, like there was a hole. Come on. Get down there. Okay, gonna have to use my fingers. Gonna burn myself. And last one. I'm trying to go fast for you guys. I imagine this is not the most entertaining thing to watch on YouTube. So I appreciate you being here with me as I melt solder and inhale fumes in a closed, sealed room. We're in my garage. I probably should just open the door, but it's kind of cold outside. Blackbeard, this is the Multi-Rotor Mania 3-inch Scythe. Really cool frame. It's getting there. So we've got all the ESCs wired to the PDB. Next I'm going to attach 2 wires to the 5-volt rail coming off the PDB, which will go into my flight controller. And I think that's the only other thing that needs to get wired into the PDB. So this should be a pretty quick build. Let's see how we're doing weight-wise. $43 grams. Alright, I'm guessing we're going to be around 100 dry weight without the battery when we're done. Okay. So, I did not find the manual for this yet, but if I remember, 1 through 6 are for the motors on this side. Alright, okay, fine. I'll look up the manual. I'll be good and look at the manual so I don't spill anything. Flight controllers, Dragonfly 32. Dragonfly 32, not the compact. I think this is the regular one. Yeah, compact looks like it has a buzzer built into it. And here is a pinout. Nice. Okay, so my guess was correct. Oh, where's my receiver? Okay. I could use this, or do I have one lying around? Okay. Don't have one lying around, so I'll open this guy up and go through the depinning process, because there's no room for pins in this quad, and I do this for all my builds anyway. I just hate pins. They take up too much space. I stopped buying these X4Rs because the XSR, the version that comes without the pins, is just so much easier to work with. It's like exactly what I want, and it takes me less time to set it up. Okay. What size pack will I use? Mike, I haven't figured it out yet. I know I'm going to run 3-cell, and these are some packs that I had from flying airplanes. They're probably like 3 or 4 years old. These are probably not going to sustain the current that I'm going to be drawing for a quadcopter. But I'm going to start with these. They're 500 milliamp hour 3-cell packs. Hopefully that'll be a good starting point. But do you guys have any recommendations for batteries that I should be buying for these motors with the 3x2 props or the Dow tri-blade props? Like, what should I be shopping for? I think I've got a few weeks before I need to race this at Maker Faire, so I have some time to experiment and figure out what works best. Okay, sounds like 500 is the right size. Cool. I might just have to buy some newer ones. These are really like old. They were probably some of the first packs that I bought when I started flying RC airplanes like 6 years ago, so they may not last very long. Alright, let's get this in the clamp and then try to pull these pins off. So my technique for depinning is just I get my tweezers on here and then I go in and heat up one pin at a time. And if I'm lucky, it comes out nicely. If I'm unlucky, it gets stuck, and then I've got to do some really nasty shit to pull it out. Oops, excuse me. This stream is rated mature. I hope that's okay. Come on, there we go. Solder keeps wanting to flow into the via, so I keep on having to pre-tin my tip so it transfers heat to the header pin efficiently. If the tip's dry, it just can't transfer the heat to the pin fast enough, and I ended up just heating the entire board, reflowing components, and that's all sorts of bad. Alright, so we got the first row off, which is the easy row, because those pins are nice and long. Back row. This is the one that always gives me trouble. One, two. 3. Potty mouth. Yeah, my bad. Pumpkin Trouble, you should have heard what I was saying when my other quad caught on fire on a live stream. It was much worse. What's up, Wishbeats FPV? Thanks for joining. Nice, lipos are balancing. I was pretty lucky this weekend. I got a lot of flying in. It was a good weekend for me. It was, well, firstly, my first multi-GP race. So I went up to Sacramento yesterday with the Propsman crew and had a really good time at that event. And then we went and found this like really cool spot under some train tracks near the end of a marshland. And we did some freestyle free flying there. That was fun. Almost lost Humboldt's quad, but thankfully he had DVR footage and we found it. And then today I woke up early again and met up with some local pilots in the San Francisco Bay Area. Snokey FPV, 10 FPV, and another one of my friends that I'm training to become the next great drone pilot. So that was fun. And then came home, ran some errands, and then repaired all the broken drones from yesterday in the morning, and then went out again to Baylands and flew right before sunset. It was great. I flew the new Lumineer motors that I got in the mail. They're the 2204 2300 motors, and I put those on the Shen Drones boob, or I think he's calling it the Mako, Shen Drones Mako. And by changing to those motors and changing also to the Dow, the new Dow tri-blades that I got, I reduced the weight of that frame by like 30 grams. So it went from 330 grams dry to like 300, just under 300. It was ridiculous. I did not expect it to get that light. Alright, all of those are off. Cool. So now I'm ready to put wires on here. If I remember correctly, it is the bottom row here, closest to the edge of the board. Yeah. And it's signal, power, ground. Cool. I direct solder all my wires to my receivers and to my flight controllers. I just don't like having connectors. They're pain. Connectors actually fail for me more often than direct soldering, so I prefer to direct solder as much as possible. No, it's not a D4R. It's a X4R, which is the S-Bus version of the FR Sky. You could have seen the packaging before I absolutely destroyed it. Because I'm trying to build thin and light. Don't be modest. You won the multi-GP event. I did win, and it was awesome. It was really fun. I mean, winning that event is where I got all these parts. So if it weren't for that event, I would not be building this tonight. Yeah, the one that had a yard sale in practice. I fixed that. Actually, no, I didn't fix that. I actually took that apart. So, yeah, I had a yard sale. So it was only one motor that broke. I think these ESCs might still be good. But I took the video transmitter out of here and decided to use it on a different Mitsuko. This is a different version that only allowed me to put 2 screws into each motor, which I think is one of the reasons why, when I had an impact, one of the front motors is ripped off the frame. But it's all good because I took that video transmitter and put it into this guy. So this was supposed to be my backup, but is now my primary. So this bottom plate actually has space for 4 screws on each motor, so I think this is going to be more durable than the unfortunate yard sale Mitsuko from yesterday. How am I going to do the RX antennas? I have no clue. That's a great question. Where do the antennas on this frame normally go? That's a Dragonfly 32 frame. Or not frame, flight controller, sorry. It needs the S-Bus inverted. Okay, cool. I'm glad you told me that before I got any further. Actually, wait. If I do that, I won't be able to get smart port telemetry. So... okay. Change in plans, we're putting a dodo in instead. So, dodo to the rescue. I'll save this guy for another build, for something else. Alright. So he's a dodo. No inverting stuff. And I can get smart port telemetry without having to do the crazy hack with smart soft serial. Because I like to overclock stuff, and that means, unfortunately, no soft serial for me. Which one's ground? Inside. And I'll use white for smart port telemetry. Where's my stripper? I could have sworn I just had it. Does anybody see my wire stripper? Oh, there it is. I'm losing it. Yeah, Acro, the PDB is awesome. It has a 5 volt, but you're right, I don't need it. So, here's a question. If I have a choice, well, no, I want VBAT from the Dodo, so I'm going to wire it straight to the main battery line. Huh, is that a solder ball? What is that? Looks like a small component. Okay, well, I'll try not to hit that. Cool. I think that definitely needs some hot glue. I never want to see these rip off because that means I'll have to tear apart the entire quad to service them. So I'm going to hot glue across all 4 of these wires to provide some strain relief to that solder joint and keep everything nice and tight. Yeah, I've done stuff where I've had all the motors lined up on my bench and then like one of them disappears and I can't find it for a day. That's the worst. Okay. Anybody answer the question of where should these antenna wires go when I'm done with the frame? It's a tiny little sucker. Not really sure if I need to hide the antenna wires or if there's space somewhere to like stick them out the top. Let's get some heat shrink for this receiver. Alright. No heat yet. Okay, while we're waiting for the heat gun, I'll start connecting this Dodo. This is a Dodo I tried to run 4K mode on, and it didn't seem to like it. The CPU percentage, like usage, was maxed out at 100% when I tried to run 4K multi-shot, but other than that, there's nothing wrong with it. So I think on here, I'm not looking to get the most blistering performance in the world, since it's such a small frame. I think I'll be fine just running, like, I don't know, 500 loop time. Nothing crazy. Let's find a small black wire. Magic wire bag, I'd like a small black wire, please. But that's PVC, I don't want that. Give me a small black silicone wire. Awesome, found one. What's all that? How about a red one? Red silicone wire? There we go. It's kind of thick. Oh well. Alright. Okay. Oh, that's a mess. Yeah, I should come up with a better way to organize my wires, but they're wires. I mean, do you guys have a better way to organize this other than a giant bag of wires? Because, like, it's kind of hard to find stuff, but it's easy. I just take everything and throw it away. Just don't lose Pedro. use zip ties and leave the ends pointing up. Antenna tube, zip ties. Yeah, I do the zip ties and the heat shrink. Cool. Shoebox. Yeah, shoebox is a good idea. That'd be easier than a bag, because I don't have to dig through it. It can actually be like open, and I can find stuff that's actually on the surface instead of like digging through the bag. I will do that. Tote or a shoebox. That sounds really good. Hot glue. Yes. Almost forgot about the hot glue. Okay. Hot gluing is done. So now I can put that on and shrink it up. I don't know why, but I really enjoy heat shrinking. It's like this weird fascination with shrinking something and protecting it all at the same time. It's fun. Okay, so there's my finished D-pinned X4R. Got ground, power, S-bus, and telemetry out. So I'm going to tin wires that are going to be used for power and ground to the Dodo. And I'm just going to lay these flat because I'm lazy and don't want to get out solder wick to clean these holes. And just make sure I use enough solder so it doesn't fall off. Ooh, it's hot. Okay. What are shrinky dinks? Was that the thing you put in the oven? I have no idea what. Okay, pause. What is a shrinky dink? A shrinky dink is a children's toy and activity kit consisting of large flexible sheets, which, when heated in an oven, shrink to small hard plates without altering their color or shape. They reached the height of popularity in the 1980s. Wow, was that food safe? Like, is that why we don't have those anymore? I do remember having those. I grew up with those too. I just don't remember what they were called. These wires are probably too short, and I will regret making them this short later. But for now, I'm trying to make everything tiny. Making these wires an extra inch shorter is probably not going to make a difference, but oh well. It's already on there. It's not changing now. VN. Oh hey, where'd this come from? Okay, so the batteries look like they are female, so this is the wrong one to use. I need the opposite. Okay. Found one. But again, this is like stiff PVC wire. I don't like that. This one is nice and soft silicone coated wire. So I'm going to borrow this guy from Mr. Servo Lead if you don't mind. Thank you very much. Okay. I'm tinning my wires. I didn't tin this VN, did I? Must have. I don't remember doing it. But the solder is flowing really well, so it must be the right type of solder. And for those of you that don't know, this is the connector that'll be used to connect the main battery pack to the drone. So I leave this wire slightly longer. I know the battery's going to go on the bottom, so this will wrap around the bottom like this, and the battery will connect down here. Cool. Cooking. Alright, what's next? Connect the dodo. Yes. Okay. Wherever is convenient. That's the name of the game. So where do I want this to point? It doesn't really matter. It would be nice to point it out the back, so I don't have to deal with any rotation nonsense. So let's do that. And then have this guy go right here. So this is power and ground for the dodo. And one thing I love about the dodo is you just wire it straight to the main battery line. And the dodo has built-in 5-volt regulator, and also not only does it get power through this, but also gets battery telemetry data. So it knows exactly how much power is in the main battery pack, and will tell me that through the telemetry data that shows up on my Tyrannus. So super useful if you don't have an OSD. Oh, and I burned that standoff. That's stinky. It should still work. Alright, dodo. I'm going to shove the receiver under here. Just like that. And is it gonna fit? It looks like it'll fit if I flip it this way. It's looking tight. It's looking pretty tight. That's not good. Where do you guys fit the X4R in this frame? Underneath or on top of the flight controller? Because on top of the PDB is not looking feasible. I might have to use taller standoffs here if I want to put it underneath the flight controller. I guess that's not the worst thing in the world if I do that. But then I can't use these awesome green standoffs. Anybody? Help? Alright, well, I'm going to put it on top then, because it doesn't look like it's going to fit underneath. I'm getting low so I can see what I'm doing without bending over. Okay. These wires are way longer than they need to be. 5-volt ground, and then number 3 for the PPM. When in doubt, hot glue. Vaughn is able to fit underneath. You won't be able to use a 3D print cam out if you use taller standoffs. Oh, okay, cool. Good tip. I'm just gonna put it on top then. I'll just put it right here, and I'll use like a foam mounting tape so it doesn't like wiggle around and cause problems for the gyro. Putting it on top of these wires can get really short. But I won't cut them too short because I'm not sure where I'm routing the antenna wires yet. So we will deal with extra wire length for now. Pre-tin my wires. Alright. Having it on top is kind of nice because then I can actually get to the bind button, reprogram failsafe whenever I want. Okay, receiver is set up. And this way is forward, so this is motor 1. Let's get this guy on here. And do we route this on top of the X4R? What are we doing here? That'd be kind of cool if I do this. ESC wires can actually like help to hold down the X4R. Oh, but now it's too tall again. Huh. What's going on here? Something missing? Do I have an extra set of standoffs? What did I do wrong? I did something backwards, didn't I? I was supposed to... Huh. What did I do wrong? That looks... Definitely did something wrong. Okay, I went very wrong here, folks. I've used the standoffs the wrong direction, so I'm gonna have to turn those around. Can I bring the cam in closer? Might be able to. The camera right now is like hanging on the top of my workbench. You can kind of see. There's all the stuff on top of my workbench. And the camera's hanging off of right there. So there's actually one other spot I can get it lower, but then it's gonna not be centered anymore. Actually, this might work. Okay, we're moving, you guys. Hang tight. Oh, I just realized that this image is like upside down. How do I rotate this? I could have sworn there was like a rotate 180 thing. Boom. There we go. Now you see what I see. Wow, that's way better. I'm glad you asked me to get the camera closer. Pumpkin Drublick, that's way better. Okay, yeah, so now I've got to take this apart and put the standoffs the other way. So the nuts are on the bottom, not screws on the bottom. Does it matter? I think if I have 2 sets of standoffs, it may not matter. Although the one I used down here is shorter. I think maybe if I just use these tall ones, and then I'll have nuts on the top. This will be good because I actually need some more height. Yeah, it looks like the short standoffs go on the bottom, and then the tall ones on top. Oh, that's where I screwed up. I was supposed to have... this was supposed to go here. And I needed to have 2 short and then 1 tall. Is that right? For the standoffs? Your top plate isn't on upside down. I just think I need to put these taller standoffs on here, and then maybe it'll be the right height for the camera. I'm not really sure. So let's just do a fit check and see if it works out. Okay, is this the right height now? Nope, not the right height. Oh, what am I doing wrong? Yep, okay, so I need a set of short standoffs underneath the PDB. Instead of nuts, I need to put these under there. Okay. Take it apart. Should be quick. Sorry folks, first time building one of these guys, so it's a little bit of a learning process. Look at the manual? What are you talking about? Who looks at instructions? I thought I was being clever. Pictures. It's okay. I think I figured it out. Crisis averted for now. But watch me put it back together and get something rotated by accident. Oh man. All of my ESC wires are cut to length. Oh, I hope I don't have to redo those. That would suck. This just became a much longer build. Yeah, this is going to be a problem because think I might have to cut new wires for the ESCs. But we'll see. Maybe the length is just long enough and these taller standoffs will work out. Okay, short ones in the bottom. We got this. We totally got this. Nuts on the bottom. Don't you hate it when the nut like goes inside the driver and you can't get it out? It's like it's trying to hide. It's hiding from its destiny. Punk and Drublick, do you know what size frame this is exactly? I know it's a 3-inch. I don't know the exact size. It's probably close to 130. 130? Yeah. Oh darn, I over-tightened this one. That's no bueno. Hakalu to the rescue. Problem solved. Okay, let's hope that this all goes back on the same way. Let's see, back this way here. Okay, let's see if we can make this work. Oh, look at that. We are in luck. Oh, nope, not in luck. That one needs to be redone. It's too short. And that one too. Okay, well, 1 out of 4 doesn't have to be resoldered. Unless, let's see. That'll work. 2 out of 4, good. And if I just push it, it'll go. Okay, 3 out of 4, okay. Alright, looks working fine. We made it work. Alright, short standoffs, going in. Alrighty. Almost midnight. Ugh. Who has to go to work tomorrow? I know I do. But I would love to finish this before tomorrow. Although, if I don't finish this tonight, it gives me something to look forward to doing tomorrow. So that's one upside. Alright. You know, there's a ton of space underneath the PDB. I could probably hide the receiver under there. Anybody hide the receiver underneath the PDB? I'd have to put new wires on because they're way too short right now. Ugh. Darn it. I want this to go underneath. Tons of space under there. Oh, if only I had known, I would have left these wires longer. Maybe I can desolder them and solder them to the bottom side of the board and get it to work that way. Yes, I think we shall get that to work. I think I might just have to make a jumper for one of the wires. I think I can get 3 of these to the right length. Shove it underneath. Don't burn my finger, please. Thank you. Ow. You bitch. Alright, now we're talking. The sucker's hiding underneath. And I can probably make it so the bind button is on the bottom. Yep, there we go. Down she goes. Nice. Pretty snug. Don't think that's going anywhere. And look, I can get to the bind button, I think. Yes, there's the bind button. So, we're good to go. I don't know if you can see that on camera. Here it is. Bind button right there in that corner. So that's great layout. I like it. I just need to get this white wire. This is my telemetry. Got to connect this, of course, to the other side of the board. So, and I guess I am going to have to rotate things just due to the wire length and the way that things ended up coming out. Actually, no. That looks good. If I do it this way, this guy, is it gonna reach? No, it's not gonna reach. Alright, so we're gonna extend this one wire for smart port telemetry. But that's not a big deal. It's arguably the least important wire in this receiver system, so if it fails, I just lose telemetry. It's not like the quad's gonna fall out of the sky. So I'm gonna be lazy and just extend it. I'm going to use some blue heat shrink here because this is going to be hidden and I don't care what color it is. Again, I'm going to be lazy and use a lighter instead of the big heat gun. Alright, cool. So this is turning out pretty nicely. Actually, that wire may have reached by itself. I didn't realize it, but it would have given me like no room to work with. Like I probably wouldn't have been able to lift the board up. But you can see that heat shrink joint is right next to where the wire needs to go. But it would have been super tight, so it's fine. I needed the extension. That's good. And a bit of glue. Okay, I'm almost done. And add a little bit of hot glue here for security. Why not? It's on the bottom, nobody's going to see it. Don't judge me for using hot glue, I want to be safe. Okay. Now the tall ones. I think. No? I think this might be the one that I melted. Doesn't want to go in. Holy shit, it's stuck. No, this is a good standoff. I don't know why it's not going in. Maybe I just need to push a little bit harder. Alright. You behave. It's midnight. Go in. Oh, you son of a bitch. Okay, I think it's bottoming out, actually. I didn't get in trouble. Oh, maybe I did. My wife is very understanding. She gets it. She knows what I'm doing. Alright, why doesn't this go in? They go in on this guy. Do I need to like trim the tips of the standoffs or something? No? Okay, let's just try a different one. I mean, just that one doesn't want to cooperate. Yeah, that one is just being difficult. These other ones are fine. Okay. Wow, these are super tight standoffs, which I guess is good because they're gonna be impossible to vibrate loose. Whew. That's making my fingers sore. But I'd rather do it by hand so I can actually feel how much torque is being used. One thing about this socket driver is I don't really know how much torque I'm applying to it, so it could be dangerous. Alright. Got all the standoffs on. Didn't pinch any wires. At least I don't think I did. Yep. Alright, looks good. So, next thing is to solder the ESC wires on. And somehow forward is not forward anymore. Screw it. I'm just going to do yaw negative 90 degrees and that'll be it. As long as I can get these wires into the right spot. And it looks like everybody's long enough. So we're gonna get going. So this will be 1. This will be 2. 3. Actually 3 I want to have come around to a U-turn. So it'll be like that. And then 4, same thing, do a U-turn. Alright. So everybody's cut to length. Now we're going to strip off the tips and tin them. It's a home stretch, guys. We're almost done. Did I... Shit. Forgot to connect power leads for the Hawkeye. Uh-huh. Hawkeye wants 12 volts. I think I might be lucky, and I could probably get to the 12 volt pad here. Yes. It's my lucky day. So Fam put his right here, like in right behind the camera. I'm going to attempt to do the same thing. So these wires can be pretty small, short. Ha! Got you. Makes me happy when I forget to do something and then I somehow figure out, oh look, I can still do it without taking anything apart. Six to 24 volts. Sweet. Alright. I hooked it up to the 12 volt regulator built into the PDB that I got yesterday. So I think that should work nicely. I like to run it on a regulator, but yet I mean my VTX, just in case there's some like noise or voltage spikes coming from the ESCs that people seem to experience issues with. Same thing as everything else that I like to do. I don't like to use headers for the ESC wires. I just directly wire everything straight to the board. And when I do this, I always go from left to right, just so it's easier for me to get to all the wiring, because I'm right-handed. So I start with motor 1, and then I do motor 2, and I start with the signal wires, and then I route the ground wire over the signal wire. It's a little bit too close to... Yeah, it's too close to the 5 volt rail. Don't like that. There we go. Better. One, two, here's 3. And this guy's doing a U-turn. Sorry, I'm like bent over half the time when I'm building. You guys can't even see my face. There's 3. Ground for 3. And lastly, number 4. Come on. Cooperate. Get in your via. It's kind of an engineering joke. I don't know if you guys got that. I am an engineer, so sometimes the nerd just comes out. It's unavoidable. Alright, all the ESC wires are good. Hawkeye's good with power. Let's see, should probably screw in this TPU camera mount. Don't think I need to do anything else to mount this. It looks like it's already in there pretty well. Pumpkin Drublick, should I add any hot glue to hold the camera into this mount, or is that good enough the way it is? Well, this wire is really long. I will shorten that up. Up to me. Okay. Okay. Now, how did Michael get this behind here? What the heck? Some sort of like sorcery? Okay, I guess if I pull this forward, then I can shove this in here. But it is very tight. Wow. Maybe this way. No, sideways is better. That's hitting the ESCs and can't go all the way down. And my ESCs are like way up against the standoffs because the wires are short. Like all things in life, just push harder. Alright, this will go. Just gotta push it down. Make sure all the wires are in the right spot. Yep. So the only problem is this TPU camera mount is now pushed like really far forward. I don't know if it's going to line up with the top plate anymore. Yeah, no, it's way off. How did Michael Pham get that to work? That's not gonna fit. Did he use this top plate? Oh, he might have used... Okay, is that the secret? He might have used a different frame. Yeah, this frame has more space between the standoff and where the camera goes. Okay, so I'm gonna have to put this somewhere else on here then. I guess I'll just put it on top of the dodo. And then I can get to the dip switches easier too. Looks like there's just barely enough room if I flatten out these wires. Nope. That might fit. Looks really tight, but let's see. Just move those out of the way for now. Doesn't really fit. I'm kind of squishing stuff on the flight controller, which is not really what I want to be doing. Where else could I fit this VTX? Can I attach it to the bottom of the top plate? No. No, I'm trying to do that right now. It's just a really tight fit between the bottom of the top plate and the flight controller. So, I think it might fit if I didn't have these ESC wires on top. Oh, what to do? Maybe flip it over, because there are these bumpy things on here, the dip switches, this connector, and then there's tall components on the dodo. So, you know, if I flip this over and put the components and the switches in the right spot, I can get them to occupy the same height and it might work out. But then I can't get to the dips, so that doesn't really work out if I want to race this at an event. So I've got to have the dip switches facing up. And maybe it's just about managing the wire so it's not getting right underneath. Right around the USB connector. And then put this on top. Oh, that might have done it. I think we have a winner. I might have to add some hot glue, but I think this is going to work. Yep, we have a winner. We're pushing a little bit on there, but I think it's gonna be all right because we're mostly squeezing wires. It shouldn't be straining anything too much. All right, got a winner. Do I want to trim all these wires for the camera? Kind of, but maybe not tonight. I think for now I'm going to take this and shove it in there because I need to go to bed. I'm going to get up and go to work tomorrow, unfortunately. size screw is this? It's tiny. That's not it. We are almost done, folks. Gotcha. Nice, I can get to the dip switches. It's not going to be super easy, but I can get to them by peeking through this M and like pushing the VTX around. So, success. Alright. And this guy. Smoke? I'm hoping not for smoke. That's what happened last time I did a live stream build. You guys are jinxing me. I guess I should, I'll do it later, but I'm probably gonna fish this SMA wire through like the standoff and wrap it around so I don't have this extra length sticking out. But for now, it's good enough. Taking bets. No faith. Just because of what happened last time, you guys think there's going to be a fire. I'll be sure to hit the record button before I plug it in. How about that? Where's my little antenna? Be right back. Got this super cute little antenna. I actually tried flying this today on one of my racers, flipped over and crashed, so it's a little bit deformed, but luckily I'm an expert antenna designer. And I know how to straighten it out. Look at that, it's like good as new. All right. Thanks, Militia Brothers. Oh, we don't have the motors on. What are we doing? No motors. I mean, can I even plug in ESCs without motors? I've never done that. It's probably okay. Let's just get the motors on here. It's not going to be that much work. Do we still have all 4 motors? Yes. They're trying to run away, but they're still here. It's so small. Oh, it looks ridiculous. They're so tiny. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 packs of screws. Okay, I will have these motors on in less than, oh, I want to say 5 minutes. I usually do motors pretty fast. It's a lot of screws. Got some different length screws here. Some countersunk. And some regular socket head cap screws. So I'm guessing we'll be using the socket head cap screws, not the countersunk. But How long do we need here? These seem really long. Long ones look like they're going to punch a hole through some wires. So I guess I'm using the shorter countersunk ones. Seems like a bad idea for flat carbon. No, those are too short. Starting timer. Well, can we reset the timer once I figure out which type of screws to use here? Because these are too long and the other ones are too short. So is there a middle length, or I'm gonna have to like get on an X-Acto or a Dremel and cut some screws to the right length here? That might be okay. Like super close to shorting out some wires. Really sketchy. I think the stock ones are going to punch. Yeah, the stock ones are going to go right into the wires. The stock ones are too long. I don't know if you can see that, but there's too much length with the stock wires. Or stock screws. Ugh, getting late, can't talk. Yeah, that's going to go into the copper wire. And then yeah, there's too long and then there's too short, so I can't use any of those. Alright, I'm gonna go to my screw box and see if I have anything that might fit. Okay, longer ones are for the props. We are in luck. I've got a ton of screws that are the same diameter, but look, that's also too long. These are the same length. Okay, so not that one. Also the same length. Okay. 0 for 2. Oh, we might have something here. This is a little bit longer and a little bit shorter than this guy. I think this might be the right size. Yeah, I get about almost 3 threads. It's not as many as I'd like, but I think it's probably the right length, probably the best length. Where did I get? I'm not even sure where I got these screws. They're in my box, but I don't have like 16 of these, so I'm probably not gonna be able to finish. Oh wait, what's this? Oh, what did I just find? Are those all the right length? This came from a different kit. I'm not exactly sure what kit it came from, but it might save us. Yeah, this looks perfect. It's about 1 millimeter shorter than the long screws that came for the propellers, and I think it's the right size. Yeah. Okay. I'll be right back. I'm going to get my calipers and we can measure the length on the right length screws. So I'll be right back. Of course, the calipers are dead. New battery. Oh, this battery's dead too. Okay, I guess we won't be measuring anything. Let's do it the old school way. Elevator music. So this is in... This is a centimeter, so each of these is millimeters. So this is like 5 millimeters long. Alright, so that's the right length. Whatever diameter these are by 5. That's what we need. I don't know where these came from. They were just in my screw box, but probably from a different kit. Or maybe a different set of motors. So, super lucky that I have these. Let's pour these out. Probably use all of them. Get out my Loctite. Motor time. Alright, now start the clock. 12:34. I'm going to do all 4 screws because I'm paranoid. And I've had a lot of motors fly off, especially this weekend, when only 2 screws are used. So, you know, might as well just use all 4 and be safe. $12.35. Uh-oh. 1 minute per motor. Better go faster. Not gonna make it, guys. Might get them mounted, but soldering too? I don't know. Oh, does anybody know for these motors? Are the clockwise rotation? Do I just solder the wires straight out of the motor onto the ESC, or do I cross a pair of wires for the clockwise rotating motors? You know, basically, is it Cobra style or like T-motor style wiring? Yeah, I like to do the motor direction mechanically. Yeah, I just cross 2 wires And then in BL Heli, I like to have everything set to normal. So what I do is I cross two wires for a pair of motors. So either the clockwise rotating motors or the counterclockwise rotating motors. That way when I go into BL Heli, it looks like all the ESCs are identically programmed. So when I hit right, I only have to hit right once, and it's really fast. So like on the Cobras, I know the wires for clockwise rotation, you just wire like 1, 2, and 3 straight to the ESC. You don't cross anything, they just come straight out. But then for the counterclockwise rotating motors on the frame, you cross to the wires, and then they're good. Alright, well, if I'm guessing it's standard like the Cobra style motors. Like Cobras and Lumineers are now all, the clockwise rotation is considered normal or whatever, and so those don't get crossed. And then you cross the other ones. So I'll try that. If it doesn't work, as long as I am consistent and only do it on the right pair, all the ESCs can be normal direction or all of them can be reverse direction. I just want them all to be the same. Well, I'm doing okay on time. 12:38. Counterclockwise rotation is normal. Okay. In that case, I'll cross the two wires for the clockwise motors. Thank you for that. Alright, so let's cross motors 1 and 4 then. Trim the wires. Some tiny wires. Might save those for later. Dang, these are tiny. Okay, fingernail stripping. Wow. Having a hard time stripping them. Tweezers. I don't think my stripper is small enough. Goes down to 0.2 millimeters. I think I need smaller. Did I just make a very bad assumption thinking that I could cut those motor wires? Because this actually feels like enamel coated wire under here. Very, very stiff. I think I may have just ruined these motors. Or, yep, I think I'm screwed. Where the fuck is the wire? Oh jeez. I'm like pulling the heat shrink and the wires are just like sliding right off. Plus I think, yeah, this is enamel coated wire. Damn it. Okay, so I fucked up. I trimmed these assuming that I could just cut them to length. But this is actually all enamel coated wire that's tinned on the end. So you can see that right there. So that was a boo-boo. Yeah, I'm gonna have to strip the enamel, use a blob of solder. Okay, is the blob of solder gonna be enough to strip the enamel off? The only way I've been able to get the enamel off before is to use like a knife or a Dremel to like sand it off. Let's try this blob of solder. Whew! Okay, the blob of solder seems to be working. The enamel is burning off, and looks like the wire is getting tinned. Alright, so we're good. Scary. Okay, so I think I said I was crossing a wire on the clockwise, so that would be this one. So these are actually too long. I'm gonna have to trim them even more. Gosh, this is a pretty difficult space to work in. Okay, it's going slowly but surely. It's crazy that these wires are a single strand of enamel copper wire. Hey, what's up? What's up, SFPV? Yep, I flew all day yesterday, and I flew a lot of today, and now I'm building. What can I say? I've got problems, man. I can't stop. I am addicted. Yeah, you know, it's pretty late. Almost 1 a.m. What am I giving away to the viewers? Hold on, let me catch up to your comments here. Get some flowers. I'm giving away free knowledge, that's right. We're giving away free knowledge and mistakes. Here's what you shouldn't do when you're building this drone. Learn from my mistakes. Longest build ever because of mistakes. Okay, motor 1's done. That only took us 15 minutes. Alright, enough for tonight. Tomorrow I'll finish soldering the motors on, and this thing should be pretty much done once I route these wires somewhere safely. Okay, Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for hanging out with me. It's 1 a.m. Time for bed, calling it quits. Later. I don't know. I imagine I'll be able to download the YouTube file somehow, so I should be able to edit it. Maybe make it PG, but I'll worry about that later. Does YouTube automatically save the live streams? I know the program I use, OBS, will save the stream, but I have to hit the start recording button, and I didn't do that for this stream in the interest of time and hard drive space, so we'll see. Maybe YouTube saved it. Cool. Good night, guys. See you next time.